The deep dark blue, drowning in liminality. Level 282, the Mariner. Warning, there is some blood mentioned in the article, with some slight graphic content talked about. If that's not your thing, I wouldn't recommend reading this article. Level 282, also known as the Mariner, is a linear submarine base. The first wanderer to discover the level, Samuel N. Derrick, has cataloged his experience concerning the level. The journal and his account regarding the level can be found below. More information after the initial discovery of this level has been cataloged by members of the MEG. This information can be found above the notebook. Open MEG written version. Survival difficulty. Class expanding. Boundaries expanding. Building security, increasing entity count. Description: Level 282, often referred to as the Mariner, is a vacant, monumental submarine cave, constructed mostly of concrete, with an additional outdoor area. Level 282 possesses an anomaly that allows it to expand itself. Currently, the extent of this oddity is being researched. Most features of the submarine cave are obstructed due to a lack of light sources. Despite this, similarities to submarine caves within the front rooms suggest little physical differences. Two primary sectors can be viewed within level 282. Sector Mariner. Sector Mariner is a damp, murky tunnel made from concrete, and is the sector wanderers often no-clip into when entering the level. Along the side of the unlit tunnel is a large drop leading to a raging current. Currently, the drop height is unknown. Wanderers commonly regard its similarities to submarine bases within the front rooms. Currently, the sector seems to lack any significant developments or notable changes. The tunnel stretches 10 kilometers long. Revision. After further evaluation from MEG operatives, it appears that the tunnel is capable of extending. A table seen below catalogs all extensions made to the tunnel. Tunnel length when originally found. Date unknown. Length 10 kilometers. Tunnel length on Meg Expedition Number 1. Date 05/03/27. Length 11 kilometers. Tunnel length found by wanderers. Date 02/19/28. Length 12.5 kilometers. The submarines. Each submarine found within Sector Marine are large, rusted, and are of unknown properties, residing on the sides of the tunnel. The submarines are similar to those found in the front rooms. However, due to the damaged nature of the submarines, they cannot be controlled. According to some theories, these submarines are not from level 282, and instead have no-clipped into it from another level or levels. These theories are supported by the fact that despite rust being visible and seemingly unstable, there have never been records of a submarine sinking. As a result, some wanderers have additionally theorized that the submarines are impenetrable. These ideas were later put to rest when MEG-level researcher Dr. Victor K. did an experiment on 3/18/2026 to sample the durability of the submarines. This experimentation is currently known as E-282-A. Open E-282-A. MEG Experiment Report. Date 3/18/26. Experimenters: Victor K. Materials: hammer, sledgehammer, flamethrower. Report: Dr. Victor K. was curious about the submarine's durability as it related to rumors. As a result, he gathered a couple of materials to experiment with durability. Due to the size of the vessel, he only gathered materials that would bend or crush the submarine. The first of these tests used a hammer to try and make a dent. After it was confirmed that dents could be made to the vessel, a larger sledgehammer was used. A total of 15 hits were made, with 10 of them doing damage. Other than a much larger dent, no tears appeared to be found in the submarine. In the final test, he hit the submarine 10 more times. This time, a flamethrower was introduced to heat the metal before it was hit. All hits were successful, with the end result causing some water to leak through the floor of the ship. Conclusion: while none of the submarines sustained enough damage to sink, it's speculated that, theoretically, they could if enough force is put in. Outdoor sector. The outdoor sector consists of a pasture of unexplored parameters connecting to Sector Mariner. Originally, this sector was thought to be a myth due to its difficulty in being found. However, after various reports of wanderers in the outdoor sector, it is confirmed as real. Its mythical origin and many legends surrounding the area should be noted. Some of these myths suggest the outdoor sector is a portal to the front rooms. However, these statements are often written off as the talk of a conspiracy theorist. As opposed to Sector Mariner, the outdoor sector is teeming with plant life present in the front rooms. Some wanderers have claimed to see foxes, deer, and bears within the level. These sightings fuel the theory that the outdoor sector is connected to the front rooms. However, none of these statements have been proven. Sector C? Meg theory, hypothetical Sector C. Sector C is a hypothetical area thought to be contained in level 282. Physical properties are theorized to be similar to oceans found within the front rooms. Some theories state this sector shares the property with other ocean levels. Footnote, such as level 7, thalassophobia. This sector first came into thought when examining Samuel N. Derrick's notebook. At the end of the account, he notes seeing an incredibly bright light. Some wanderers and explorers report an ocean. Accordingly, this site is right before no-clipping into another level occurs. Other features regarding the ocean currently are not known. Entities. Currently only one known entity inhabits this level. Revision. In the 2 months since level 282 had been discovered, only one entity had been thought to be inhabiting it. However, two more entities have been found occupying the level. The first of these entities are facelings, and are found inhabiting the submarines. Other entities can be found described below. The Raging Tide. The Raging Tides are navy blue, 5 mm parasitic insectoids that can be found in the water of level 282, often being found in clusters, attached to each other to avoid the current controlling their movements. These entities are blind and rely on their antennas for perception. Additionally, these entities seem to have the ability to change any liquid substance to water. According to examinations done on explorers commonly exploring the level, these entities often seek to attach themselves to the eardrum of a host. They will then begin a feeding process in which they suck the host's blood. During this period, they replace all of the blood in the victim's body with water. These entities are able to emit a sound during this feeding process, which is noted to be similar to crashing waves. The siren. Among all entities inhabiting level 282, the siren is considered the most dangerous. The siren is an entity capable of causing paralysis to those making vocal contact with it. Wanderers encountering this siren are not suggested to engage in communication with this entity. The physical characteristics of the siren are impossible to confirm due to the darkness of the cave of Sector Mariner. However, some wanderers have claimed to see the siren near the dim light of the submarines. These remarks claim physical similarities between it and myths in the front rooms. These statements have not been confirmed. Samuel N. was interviewed by Meg operative Dr. Victor K. on 02/26/25 when news first broke out about the entity. Meg Discovery Interview 282. Interviewer Dr. Victor K. Interviewee Samuel N. Derrick. Date 02/26/25. Start interview. Samuel. So you're interviewing me today? Victor. That would be correct. I'm assuming you know why I brought you for an interview today, right? Samuel. Considering my past experiences, it probably has something to do with that horrid place I was in. Victor. Well, yes. But more specifically, we're curious about the creature you've encountered. As of now, we're decidedly calling it the Siren, and we'd like to know everything you know about it. Samuel. Didn't I give you guys a notebook of mine for this purpose? I've already told you everything that I know. Vice versa. You know everything I know. Did you guys lose it or something? Victor. No, and we're well aware of the notebook. I'm asking because there are some recently disturbing rumors about it. I'm trying to figure out if they're true, or maybe if they're false. Here's a question to start with. Did you ever see it? Samuel. I mean, no. I did say I thought it was human. I swear I could see at least the top half of a human. Although, considering the darkness, no, I didn't really see it. Victor. I see. What about the voice? From what we know, it has the capacity to cause brain damage. Do you know anything about that? Samuel. Not sure where you got that information from, but whoever said that is messing with you. I remember feeling paralyzed, though. It was like my brain blanked out. If that's what you're talking about, then it's likely that it can shut down the body, if that makes any sense. Victor. Yes, paralysis is a better explanation than any of our current theories. One thing I should ask is if there is anything, and I do mean anything, that you might have left out. Samuel. Not to my knowledge. Victor, what about the splats? As of now, we're decidedly calling it the siren, and we'd like to know everything you know about it. Samuel, didn't I give you guys a notebook of mine for this purpose? I've already told you everything that I know. Vice versa, you know everything I know. Did you guys lose it or something? Victor, no. And we're still well aware of the notebook. I'm asking because there are some recently disturbing rumors about it. I'm trying to figure out if they're true, or maybe if they're false. Here's a question to start with. Did you ever see it? Samuel, I mean, no? I did say I thought it was human. I swear I could see at least the top half of a human. Although, considering the darkness, no, I didn't really see it. Victor, I see. What about the voice? From what we know, it has the capacity to cause brain damage. Do you know anything about that? Samuel, not sure where you got that information from, but whoever said that is messing with you. I remember feeling paralyzed, though. It was like my brain blanked out. If that's what you're talking about, then it's likely that it can shut down the body, if that makes any sense. Victor. Yes, paralysis is a better explanation than any of our current theories. One thing I should ask is if there is anything, and I do mean anything, that you might have left out. Samuel. Not to my knowledge. Victor. What about the splats? If I can recall, you said it felt like it was chasing you. What else did you feel at that moment? Samuel. Well, other than my downside, I remember feeling pretty cold. It's not nearly as vivid as most of the other stuff, but yeah, it wasn't like a winter cold. It was more like just came out of an ice bath cold. It was like I was wet, sort of. Victor. So not only can it paralyze one, but it can also freeze them, or make them feel like they're really cold. Well, that's something new. Samuel. Yeah, I guess it was. Anything else? Victor. Actually, yes. When you were running, did you feel like it was chasing you? Maybe it was just the impression I got from reading the account that made it seem like you got a sudden burst of energy. Samuel. Honestly, I'd say it was more like my survival instincts. Like, I've heard the body can go past what it normally does to keep you alive. Victor. That makes sense. I would also like to formally apologize. I'm sure this was a hard experience to talk about. Samuel. Don't sweat it. It was in the past. That's where it's staying. I just gotta keep my head and my ambitions high. Victor. Thank you for your time today. Interview end. Entrances and exits. Entrances. One can enter this level by no-clipping in the submarine on level 83, the sunken submarine. Entry into level 282 is also possible by no-clipping through the ocean in level 291, lost at sea. Exits. One can no-clip in the current and end up in level 711, abandoned isles, or in level 182, aromatherapy, level 182's river. Open journal. Day 1. The deep blue. Drowning. Drowning. Drowning? Drowning! As I woke up, my first conscious thought circulated fully through my brain. My eyes barely opened before a rush of water came flooding through my eyes. The pressure on my lungs felt like I was just put under a freight train. The water rushing in my lungs. The fact that I was even alive surprised me greatly. I kicked in all directions, attempting to get a feel of my surroundings. Where was up? Was there even an up? What if this place is just water? Wouldn't have been the first time this hellhole has thrown something like this my way. These thoughts were rushing as rapidly through my brain as the water through my lungs. The more I kicked and squirmed, the more hopeless I felt when inevitably nothing happened. Giving up seemed like the most logical option at that point. I mean, what could I actually do? It's not like a monster. Even those could be taken out with enough willpower. But willpower can only get you so far. Light fading. As I was giving up, letting myself go out, the light was fading? No, getting brighter? At first, I thought that the light was my brain telling me that it was time to leave, a solemn goodbye. Instead, I was spat out onto the top of the water. My barely alive body used all of its energy to fight this out. The deep, dark blue suddenly turned into but a shallow stream, a husk of what it once was. I tried to get up, but by that point, my body was done. I puked what I could only describe as water and blood, while trying to take small breaths at a time. All I was focusing on by this point is survival, ignoring my cold body that might have well gained hypothermia during the time I was underwater. And it was at this point I fell to the ground. I went unconscious. As I woke up, I almost instantly noticed a pounding headache. The dirt on the side of my face that I had collapsed on made a large red mark. I was still a little dazed from the moment before, taking a look at the small stream. My wobbly legs felt like giving out every second after I stood up on what seemed to be the bottom of a hill. At this point, I might as well find an escape before anything else happens, I thought to myself, looking downstream. My eyes broadened as my gaze shifted to the massive tunnel in front of me, a tunnel with all-consuming darkness that blanketed anything inside. Explains the darkness a little bit at least, I thought to myself. Trying to walk was a difficulty in itself. Each step is only accomplished to feed the atrocious headache. The closer I got to the damp tunnel, the more my mind opposed my body. We were just in the pitch black darkness, and look what happened then. This is an unnecessary risk. Why put yourself in it? The ever increasing discomfort in my headache was miserable. Despite this, I knew I had to take a step further into the darkness and venture on. Day 2, the wallowing tunnel. As I neared the wallowing void, I noticed something off. Was it the wind, whispering tunes beyond my understanding? Maybe it was just a chill looking into pure darkness. If I'm being honest, I'm not sure myself. All I am sure of is it sent a chill down my spine. I took what was likely going to be my last fresh breath of air for a while, closed my eyes, and proceeded to the chasm. The first couple of steps in, and I was already cold. I couldn't see anything, not even an inch in front of me. But there was plenty to hear. What was first a gentle river turned into a wailing storm, the crashing of the waves. I didn't want to admit it, but I was scared. Scared to be once again swallowed by the depths. Nothing made my blood go colder than that. Each step of mine felt like a life or death situation. You've been through worse than this, I thought to myself. You can do this. You've fought off monsters some could only dream of. My thoughts were my only comfort during this trial. It had felt like an eternity already, although I couldn't be certain. But just then, I saw the faintest light. It was nothing but a flicker, and yet my hopes went past the atmosphere and into space. I rushed. I never even knew I could run that fast, but maybe it was the darkness that blanketed my actual speed. As I got closer, the light got brighter. Outside! Finally! I shouted with giddy. But as I approached, I realized it wasn't the outside. It was a submarine? It took me a second to realize I was stuck in a place where abnormality is the new normal. As I approached the vessel, I stumbled. I hesitated, or at least until I heard my stomach. I can't remember when the last time I ate was. On top of that, I had swallowed tons of salt water. Count that to my already giant list of worries. How have I even made it this far? Maybe the adrenaline drowned out the fatigue. Honestly, I'm unsure. But with that, I hesitantly approached what I thought was a door. I had my doubts, but what if the door was locked, and this was all some twisted joke this place had thrown? I shook my head, confidently approached the door, and turned the large knob. Open! The first second in, and my eyes already burned. I can't really blame anyone. I purposely went into a pitch-dark void, one without any light for my retinas to make contact with. After the bright flash, I saw carpet? I could practically feel the comfort from where I was standing. I fell on the carpet. Oh, how I longed to see such things, such comfort. I indulged myself on the floor for a hot second. I took a moment to do that before propping myself up again. It took another gurgle from my stomach before I prioritized getting food. I'm sure this place has some food. I don't even need a lot, just enough to keep myself moving forward, I thought to myself, confidently. I practically had to crawl around the place. It took what I could only describe as an eternity's eternity before I finally found something. At first, I found some other seemingly important things, like a bedroom. I wanted to rest so desperately, but I knew that would make me incredibly vulnerable. I'm sure I'd be protected in this place, though. Right? I tell myself. Walking around, I found a room filled with wrapped food and water bottles. Before even taking a second thought, I scarfed the food down, as if it was going out of style. Then, I hopped on one of the beds, as much of a brick as it felt, since I had gotten here. I was used to sleeping on the ground, if I even got the chance. This was a luxury to me. Day 3, the hymn. Drowning. Drowning? Drowning! I woke up in a cold sweat. Each drop of it felt like a splash of water hitting my head. I went back to what I called the kitchen area and grabbed some water. It was just a nightmare, trying to comfort myself. I knew I had to move forward, but part of me wanted to stay a little longer. I mean, this was my little comfort in the past couple of days of trauma. I grabbed the sheets from the bed and packed the food and water that was left, and then proceeded out of the submarine. The first step was uncomfortable. Luckily, the light from the submarine reintroduced my retinas to light, so at least my eyes would still work. I stride forward confidently. I like to think it was that I now had food and water to replenish myself, although, I was about to be reminded, this place will challenge your confidence. After a little while, I looked back. No light was left from the submarine, and, as a result, I could feel hopelessness start to drip back in. I had to remind myself that the only way to win was to march forward with confidence. The only way to win is by not giving in. A tune? It started out as nothing more than a whisper. I considered, is this really it? Am I imagining things? However, I quickly reassured myself that this wasn't an illusion. After a little bit, the hymn grew louder than the waves themselves. After a little bit, the hymn grew louder and louder. I could have sworn they were louder than the waves themselves, although maybe it was because the walls echoed the sounds. I can't exactly explain it, but there was something off about it. Honestly, it was a similar feeling to the one I had right before entering this cavern of chaos. It came from all directions. Quite frankly, it didn't help the current state I was in. This hymn soon turned from a sound louder than the waves to silence. I wasn't sure if I should be excited that the noise wasn't there, or scared. It had only been maybe 10 minutes before another noise came. This noise was different. It practically came with the breeze. It was faint at first. It was much quieter than the damp waft of the tunnel. Hello? 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 Every octave of the voice drove my heart rate to madness. After once again talking myself down, I sighed. I should be staying safe, but I would probably also be finding others and panicking had it not been for the food, water, and sleep keeping me calm. I called out, "Hello?" and the voice followed suit. Honestly, I started getting excited. This was the first human contact I would have in days. Even if the voice was eerie, even if this place was a void of darkness, that wouldn't matter. As long as there was hope to pursue, I would pursue it. As I ran closer and closer to the sound, the further the voice sounded away. Maybe this was a figment of my imagination after all, I thought to myself. My blissful attitude was thoroughly soured. This soured view turned into concern as another "hello" came from the water. It practically announced itself. But this time, though, the tone changed. It was no longer a confused cry. Instead, it was an introduction. This voice wasn't looking for me any longer. It had found me. The voice continued. "Who are you?" To put it simply, my confusion was overwhelming. This voice came from the waves. "I'm Sam. Are you okay? Do you need help?" "Nice to meet you, Sam. I like to think I'm doing okay. What are you doing up there?" "What?" I yelled down. "What are you doing down there?" I said. I hadn't really stopped to consider what this might be at the time. I had assumed this was a human, with really no idea that this could be an entity. "Simply enjoying the water. The cold waves are quite relaxing in my opinion. I'm sure you've gone into the water for relaxation before, too, right?" As I was about to respond, a wave of exhaustion hit me. I practically fell to the floor. I couldn't see anything, yet my vision wavered. It was a weird sensation, quite frankly. It's hard to explain what exactly happened, per se. Honestly, though, I didn't really need one. I knew then and there that this thing couldn't have been human. I had been blinded by loneliness. I knew I shouldn't sulk, but I couldn't really help it. How could I have fallen for one of the most used tricks in this hellhole? The thing was attempting to talk to me in my sulking. If I'm being honest, I had kinda tuned it out. I was unsure if it was subconscious, or my ears were finally just getting to me, but a sudden screech from the beast reminded my ears of sound. It was so guttural, primal, or whatever other words you can use to describe how beastly it sounded. What was once a beautiful voice reminiscent of modern times turned into growling from an ancient beast. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! I guess I gave up on myself, or at least for a bit. This was, of course, until I heard a splat. Honestly, I could never really be sure what it was, but as my mind tends to do, I jumped to the worst. It must be that creature climbing to get me. I didn't even have the strength to get up. Or did I? In my doom and gloom attitude, I hadn't noticed that the exhaustion my body felt vanished like the breeze. It took another splat before I instinctively shot up on my feet. Day 4. A means to an end. I ran as fast as I could, not looking behind me, ignoring the newfound pain in my ears. Hell, I even left the food and water there. I started contemplating going back to one of those submarines, but the sheer adrenaline in my body wasn't allowing me the ability to do anything more than run. By the time I had stopped, I had practically no energy left in my body. To this day, I'm unsure how I was even able to run that far. Sure, I had adrenaline, but even with that, my body should have been broken down a long time ago. Hopeless. That's the emotion that went through my body. Honestly, I was surprised I hadn't done that beforehand. I lost pretty much everything. My food, my water, my energy, everything that I had built up had come tumbling down. Honestly, it affects me to this day. The idea that I might die crossed on my mind. Of course, I had already lost the creature quite a while ago, yet it felt like it was right behind me. Paranoia got the best of me. There wasn't really much more to it than that. Honestly, I can even recount how long I had been standing there. Feels like an empty memory. Deep down, I knew I had to continue. But did I even have the strength for that? I questioned myself for a second. I convinced myself that there was light at the end of the tunnel. Somewhere, there was an exit. The problem was finding it. Swallowing the fear down my throat, I once again picked myself up and continued forward. Maybe it was insomnia, but for a minute, as I was walking the seemingly endless trail, I felt comfort in the waves. I hadn't really realized it before, but the ripples that were once crashing into the walls suddenly had a steady, calming beat. A semi-smile formed on my face. Maybe I was doomed to tread the path forever. After what felt like years, a light filled my vision. I didn't have the energy to run, but I did my best. The thought it might be a submarine crossed me, but even then, this was better than nothing. After running into the light, I fell to the ground. If I'm being honest, I don't remember too much afterward. I ended up on a completely different plane than I was before. But that didn't matter. Anything was better than what I had just experienced. I'm writing this so that one group, the Meg, can look into it. That place was hell, and to those wishing to venture there, I wish you the best of luck to find the means to the end of the tunnel.